Hi, I'm Hal Gumbert with Camp Software, and I just wanted to show off a little bit of the behind-the-scenes code in Xanadu. Some people have been asking, and rather than just keep explaining, I'd like to actually show it off. So I've already logged in, and I'm on a contacts page, and here we can see I'm on contacts, and this is the ID of the contact, and it's the one that's selected here, highlighted. So the ID automatically highlights the one you're on, and then it pulls up all these different types of controls. There's pop-up menus, like some password protected things, like where there's dots you can reveal and hide. There's a million things. So let's just look at code and explain how this card gets loaded. So whatever URL somebody clicks, they start off by going to index.php. So that runs through this code. This is it right here. So right off the bat, it loads some constants. So it goes through and figures out if a URL comes in that should be rejected or not. There's a million things, so it stores all that. So it does that right off the bat, so we can reject requests close to immediately. And then this is Tim Dietrich's Allo. It's a way to easily deal with requests and responses. Requests from the user or their browser, and response with whatever data they need back. And then we have some information here for if it should be rejected or not. That's the code that uses what's inside this file. And then we go to an init file. So we want to init our Xanadu world. So it starts off setting up some PHP settings, constants, a whole bunch of stuff. It runs through that. It loads all the library function files. And then as needed, it will load classes. And every table has a class. So this is the contacts class that we're looking at. This allows it to load dynamically. So we don't have to load every single table information. Just as it's needed, it auto-loads. We use MPDF to create PDFs. It's for PHP. It's really, really nice. And we try to minify some files, like the JavaScript file and the CSS file. They can both be squished down to be tinier. Here's the CSS down at the bottom. So after the init runs, then it goes to the router. This is where it decides what code should run based upon your the URL that you loaded. So it comes in, gets the path, breaks the path up into components. So this is component 0, component 1, and you could have a bunch more. So it gets all those, and then it starts to examine, like, hey, where do we want to go? You know, if it's Xan save, go run this code. If we're sending parameters, use the params. It keeps going, and then there's a dynamic check to see if this module has a router. So it's module name, which would be contacts, and then router. So that when this page is loaded, it would run down to here, and then this would then cause the contacts router to run. App router, yep. And then here's contacts. So it says, oh, well, if the 0th component is equal to contacts, which it is, then it comes down here and says, hey, let's load its content page. So we got the content page over here. It starts off at the top, defines itself. This is how we get an instance of the module. It's the namespace, the class name, and then instantiate. And that always brings you back to the same instantiated contact. Then we define a new response. We tell the user to say, hey, this is where you were last, so if they get kicked out or close the window, they can just reopen the window and it goes right back to where they were. This function makes the list of cards and I'll show in a second, or not too long, how these are defined. Then we start creating the detail. That's all the stuff on this side. And each section, each card, I should say, so this card record contact is this card right here. And that is defined in the class. So this is the contacts class, and it's called contacts, and it extends the modules class. So it goes in, initiates so defaults. Then I mentioned like where did the entries in the list come from. Well, we have some functions for each module that says pass me back its image, pass me back its brief title, and then pass me back the more title, more information. So these are all set up, and it says, hey, pass those things back. So we can see name first, name last, a separator, and the name of a company if there is one. And then the extended information is their activity level, if they're active or not, their status typed, and if they're pinned. So that's all right there. So that loads that up. And then once the detail starts loading up, I can jump to the contact card. And this is extremely simple. All the information, the metadata for each column is stored in the SQL database. So all we have to do is say, generally, is just say, show me the field, especially for just simple text fields. So these are all, well, that's a pop-up. So it knows that that's a pop-up. So if we go to the name prefix, there's like no difference in code here than all these other lines. It just knows what it is from a schema table. Let me just bring that up real quick. I didn't plan to show this, but why not? Database, and then go to schema, setting schema, and then go to the content, and then we'll just filter this for contacts. So I'll sort it by the column order. This keeps everything in the same order as it is in the MySQL database. So we have all of our columns, column names, labels. If it has special formatting, like these are currencies. So we want those to be formatted as currency. And they're defined by, it should be a decimal keypad on iOS. And these are the types. So we saw the name, and then I went into name prefix. Well, this is a select. And the select values are made up of itself. So as you enter in more values, it just auto-populates, kind of like a FileMaker value list. And there's a couple other options, other and clear. This is all driven from this little one line of data. So if I hide this out of the way, we can now see, so these are the values that are already in there. And then this is an other value. I haven't tried this in a while, so hopefully it does not mess up. So I'll say Ms. Okay. It saved our field, it tells us. And just like FileMaker, I don't have to hit save. I just type it in and exit the field. So I'm going to reload the page, and the value's still stuck. And now we have an extra entry in our pop-up menu. It's pretty cool. So that's pretty much how I've been developing. I use the schema to set the attributes, and I've even been considering taking a lot of this it constructs the object. Most of this information is already in the schema table. So some of this may be going away over time with the ability to override. So I hope that helps explain a little, and have a great day. Thanks.